So the topic this week is startup success and failure. We're going to talk about what makes startups succeed, what makes startups fail. The topic, last week started and ended with this slide, which is startup investing is complicated. If it wasn't complicated, we wouldn't need these programs. If it was as simple as I like that company, here's some money, like it is in the philanthropic world, then everybody would be doing it. There's a whole lot more philanthropists than angel investors out there. One other thing that makes this complicated is that it's really risky. It's one of the riskiest things you can invest in because it's complicated. And it's risky even at the highest levels of startup investing. So this is a slide from another talk, but it's useful here because if you look at what a successful portfolio looks like for either angels or venture capitalists, what you'll find is that only 1 out of 10 times do they get what they want. And there's the long lecture on why it's 10x and whatnot, which is somewhat nonsense. But out there, about 3 out of times the investors are correct if they're successful. When they're not successful, it's worse than that. But only 3 out of 10 times, given the best deal flow in the world, the best deals to invest in, the biggest VCs only get it right 3 out of 10 times. And 7 out of 10 times, they lose money. And it may look like single 1x is good, but they lose money in 10 years. If you only got your money back in 10 years, you should have put it in the bank. Right? That's what we mean by risky. You're probably going to lose your money if you only do 1 or 2 or 3 of these investments. Part of it is also that the world just talks about this wrong. If you watch The Social Network, or you read the books about Apple, or you just read the articles in the newspaper, the story that you hear over and over again is loner guy comes up with an idea, and then you can go back in time to the loner guy could be Henry Ford or Thomas Edison. They're all false. It was never one guy had an idea, but the story is one guy had an idea. He brought it to market. It was a big success. That's not how things actually work. How they really work is this mess. What the axes are, it can't be time because it goes backwards. Success and progress. But basically what happens is you have an idea, you bring it to market, you find out what's wrong with your idea. You fix it. You find another problem with your idea or your marketing or your team or whatnot, and you fix it. And another problem and another problem and another problem. And if you succeed, it's because you got through all those problems. That's really what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. I know, I've been through this over and over and over again. Same thing's true on the failure stories. WeWork, right? The failure child of last year. WeWork was going public. Yeah, and the CEO did some things and wasted some money and therefore it failed. That was the story we got. Reality? No. Reality was that they made it through a whole bunch of these curlicues, and then a whole bunch more things happened at the end that were all bad, and they just couldn't make up for all those problems. And then a pandemic hit, right? This last curl for them was a pandemic hit, and they were a co-working space. And they're not actually out of business yet, but they should be. That's what failure looks like. So back to Shala, she's got some tips for you, and then she and I are going to talk about some success and failure cases.